I know I wanted to ask you, Sam, before we get into other stuff. So when you came on the podcast and we did an episode together, we talked about being a responsible mountain biker. We talked about trail.
Yeah.
What would you call it? Trail etiquette.
Etiquette.
Yep. Has there been many changes since then, do you think, in the grand scheme of mountain biking? Have you noticed anything? Has the park changed at all? Has it got worse? Because obviously we've been through lockdown since. Yeah.
Well, we'd already done one, hadn't we? And then we went through another one.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know. There was.
Yeah, we had.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, I think we did 2 more since then, right? It was right in the midst of it.
You know what? I totally forgot. 2020. I think like a lot of people, you get muddled up with years and time and whatever. So we recorded November 2020. So we'd been through lockdown, and that's why there was a lot of issues with right of way. There was a lot of issues with people going places they shouldn't, leaving litter. It was that's why we had that conversation.
Yeah. It was mental, right? Was it really after Freedom Ride 1? Did we do it after that?
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, we must have.
Yeah. Okay, weird, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Loads changed. There's definitely, it's quietened down, Hales. I think you'll agree. Like in general, that wave has kind of peaked and petered out a bit. And the podcast got, an insane response, right? I was well heard, well shared around. I had loads of people talking about it to me, and it really launched a bunch of conversations, and people that we met at subsequent freedom rides and stuff as well, who I now talk to have no reason to other than from that podcast, who reached out and got in touch. So it certainly had an impression on people, and maybe that did help. It's certainly not any worse than it was. I think that's it probably got raised from a lot of places, and then Manon Carpenter did a film with Specialized maybe last year that was very much about that sort of thing as well, talking to a lot of the builders in Scotland and Wales, and so it obviously struck a chord just across the board. So it's hard to gauge, isn't it? Everything changed so much.
How many people are out riding at the weekends, and if it's tailored off. I know from an industry perspective, I speak to bike shops. Most days I speak to a bike shop or two, and it's so crazy at the minute. You've got I can have one conversation with one shop. We'll not do any names. One conversation with one shop who's literally, oh my god, we've never been busier. We're selling bikes. The workshop's really busy. And then 10 minutes later, I'll call another shop who is basically saying that they might have to close soon because there's nobody coming through the door. They've got tons of stock. Obviously we went through this change in the industry where bikes were selling so fast that a lot of brands were basically demanding forward orders off stores that probably in the past haven't done big forward orders. And for anyone listening, what that means is you're pre-ordering your bikes, which are going to come sometimes a year in advance. So at that time, we're going through this huge growth trajectory. We've got bikes selling left, right and centre. Anything that goes into a bike shop seems to be selling. They're caught up in that wave and gone, right, usually I'd order 10 of these bikes. Fuck it, I'll have 50. Now things have slowed down. They've still been asked to take the 50 because obviously the bike brands don't want them. And then we're getting into this issue now where it's like you've got a lot of cash flow problems. You've got a lot going on with just stock being sat doing nothing. And it's kind of scary, but it's probably always the same. I've been thinking about it recently, that you've always got certain stores that are noticeably a lot bigger than others. That you're always going to have a few, bigger, some independent that have got multiple doors, stuff like that. But I've never noticed it as obvious as it is at the moment, where those ones are killing it and a lot of other ones are really, really feeling the pinch. So, interesting time at the moment for everyone. I think this cost of living thing, or whatever we call it, is having a massive impact on everything.
For sure, and also just that openness again, where the last 2 years we've been trapped in our shell, and riding bikes in any form has been one way that you can actually get out and do something quite legitimately and probably with other people and socialise. Well, now all of that's opened back up again, and it doesn't matter so much. People are doing the things they haven't done for the last 2 years and going away in ways that they haven't before, travelling just throughout the year. We had those windows of opportunity previously where we'd be not on lockdown for 3 months, or Spain's opened its doors, right, let's get in there quick. And now everybody's going away. I've been away numerous times. You're going away. You're both going away. And that's happening everywhere. Most of the kids I see on a weekly basis have been away once or twice. Right. And so that's using people's money, obviously, but they're also not necessarily doing the same things they were doing when they were trapped at home. And that could be playing an Xbox or anything like that too. anyone who's got a console is probably less likely to have turned it on in the last 6 or 7
Especially
months than they would have done the previous.
In the UK,
right? It's all of those things in one. Plus, everyone's got new bikes, so it's a very different time. I think we're going through a fairly standard peak and trough of all of these things. You know, you see it with action sports throughout. Scooters did it, BMXs did it a little while back, where that was the thing to have. Skateboarding's had it, you know, and they kind of come and go in their trends in the same way music does. But it's hard to gauge, and it's obviously worrying for a lot of industry
as far as
people with that shops
coming
or
through
otherwise.
the bike park. Would you say similar, different?
Yeah, again, I mean, the trouble is that the last few years have been so fractured that there's no real information. You know, like you can't base it on this time last year because the peaks and troughs are in different places. You look at January 2021 through to March of the same year, and there's nothing because we weren't open, and then suddenly everyone's allowed through, and so you've just got this insane peak. Plus, people are still furloughed; they're not at work, they're earning for not doing anything, whatever. So it's definitely flattened off, I'd say, across the board, across all of the parks, not just at Rogate, but, you know, everywhere else as well. And I think that's not unusual nationwide, and the bike shops must be seeing it.
I've heard bike
too,
companies are forecasting using figures from 2019 plus a bit. You know what I mean? 2019 and change.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I guess you're going to naturally have a drop off. And we should have some new recruits. I mean, certainly even within our listeners, we've got people that are new to mountain biking. So,
For sure.
So I think it's like 2019 plus change, and that includes all of the drop off from everyone being worried about gas. You know what I mean?
Okay, it's good insight. That's super interesting. It is.
Yeah.
It must have been so difficult for them to try and forecast this stuff, and again, independents trying to forecast stuff, especially when you're dealing with your actual own money. You know, you're literally gambling with what's in your bank account, what you can afford, what terms you can agree with and stuff. It's not an easy thing to do. It's funny, I was looking at like Hookit stuff earlier today. So right now when we're recording this, it's August. And so last July we did, so July 2021. Yeah, it's 2020.
Yeah.
We wise guy. We did double the amount of orders last year than what we did this year in July. So literally, we were double as big, which is crazy to think. I mean, things are still okay, but it was just a very strange time where it didn't feel real, that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But,
do you think, that the pandemic either sped up or slowed down development of things in order to excite the market in terms of like bike stuff? Do you think bike companies were more inclined to bring out new product during it because it's exciting, or maybe leave it for afterwards so that people who have bought are more likely to
I think
buy something new, or nothing?
it's hard
neither,
to put your head in where it was when it first started, and I think you can't react. This is the problem with it, and what unfortunately exactly what you were saying, Davey, but like companies are going to struggle because you can only react with the information that you've got, and you have to order so far into the future. So I know, like, I think Trek cancelled something like a crazy number of bikes. Like, as in, like,
that too.
Yeah, it was like 20,000 or 40,000 or something, like a massive number. I appreciate that was a very big window of what it could have been. But it's like a lot of bikes. And that's been across the board. Other big brands have done that. And you imagine what hole that leaves. You've got a seat clamp company. You know, you've got literally all you're making is the seat clamp, and then you lose 20,000 seat clamp order. That doesn't not affect your business, and it has this knock-on effect. Even the Allen head business that your seat clamp stocks that you run OE, it like has this knock-on effect, and that's really ultimately what recession is, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think speaking from our side, from an independent small distributor, it was easy to get caught up in this, you know, like you look at the business and it's doing double what it was doing. So you do start doing new stuff because you're like, look, we've actually got a spare bit of money for a change. And also the government gave out grants, which were mind-blowing. Again, I don't really agree with any of that stuff, to be honest. I was quite reluctant to take it. But, you know, you've got this, you got this extra money that you didn't have, right? So I think that what you were saying, Sam, that's really interesting, because maybe you do start doing stuff which is like buying Lamborghinis and BMW 1 Series and stuff like that. But like you do start thinking, well, this project that we've had an idea for, let's say it's, you know, changing a collar on a grip is probably a decent example, which we've never really had the means or the, you know, the demand to do it. Fuck it, we've got a bit of extra money. Let's just do it. So I think
let's hit some more home runs. It's felt like at one point, I'm sure, from a business perspective, like you just couldn't miss. Let's bring out a chocolate pedal.
Yeah.
Fuck it, chocolate pedal done. Everyone buys them.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do a face mask. Let's do some antibacterial hand gel.
God, I wonder how many boxes of that are left
Dude,
over.
fair bit.
Oh, it's scary, dude. It's scary, the face mask thing and everything. It is scary, you know.
You picked up any habits from it? Do you wash your hands more, do you reckon? I can't believe we're talking about
I
this.
just use my socks.
Yeah, clearly not you. We don't need to ask you, David. I haven't picked Norton.
It's interesting to think, man.
No.
It's crazy that it feels like... Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type The Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!